just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Hey there, my name is James Lee. Welcome to my channel 5149, where I talk business, politics, and society. And today we are going to examine the Freedom to Vote Act, a bill currently sitting on the floor of Congress, introduced by the likes of Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York, and other key Democrats like Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota and Reverend Raphael Warnock of Georgia. So, as explicitly written, the goal of the bill is to expand Americans' access to the ballot box and reduce the influence of big money in politics and for other purposes. Now, before I jump into dissecting the provisions of the bill, I want to just take a second to give a little bit of context. So, in the U.S., we live in a supposed democracy, or perhaps more accurately, a representative democracy or a republic, a form of government in which the people elect officials to create laws and policy on their behalf. So why this constant battle over election laws and voting rights, gerrymandering, things like that? Because wouldn't it make sense just to make it as easy as possible to vote, and if you so choose to want to run, make that as easy as possible as well? Well, it turns out people like winning, to put it simply. And so given that reality, if given the opportunity, they tend to take that opportunity to craft rules that might give them an edge. And conventional wisdom is that, in general, Democrats do better than Republicans in higher turnout elections. Now, I did a little bit of research on how this actually plays out in reality, and there's a little bit of uncertainty about the claim, and it's definitely far from a guarantee. But a lot of the research does indicate that non-voters are slightly more Democratic than voters, and that with full turnout, Democrats typically do better, but the margins are small. But that is important because it just so happens that a lot of our elections in key states do end up being very tight. In 2020, just 44,000 votes in Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin separated Biden and Trump from a tie in the Electoral College. So the Republican Party, acting under such an assumption, have made a very strong effort across numerous states to introduce legislation to restrict voting rights, effectively making it more difficult to cast a ballot. Now, for good reason, the Democrats obviously want to combat such voter suppression, so let's now jump into the key provisions of the Freedom to Vote Act. All states would be required to enact an automatic voter registration system through their DMV and ensure all voters have access to online voter registration. Offer at least 15 consecutive days of early in-person voting, including 2 weekends. Offer same-day voter registration at all polling places by 2024. Establish no-excuse mail voting for all voters in federal elections, with free postage for returning ballots, accessible drop boxes, and an easy way to cure deficient ballots. Count all mail-in ballots sent by Election Day and received within 7 days of an election. Count all provisional ballots for eligible races in a county, regardless of the precinct they were cast in. The bill also makes Election Day a public holiday. It restores the right to vote for felons who have served their time, and includes targeted protections for populations facing unique challenges like people with disabilities, Native Americans, and underserved communities. Now, I just want to say it's a little bit weird for me to be excited about all these provisions because, to me, they're all kind of no-brainers. But nonetheless, if this bill were to pass, voting in the U.S. would undoubtedly be made a lot easier. And, I'm definitely loving the Election Day as a holiday. Want a little tailgate and vote action? Not hating it. Now, with that being said, remember the initial goal explicitly stated in the bill itself that I referred to at the beginning of the video, which is to expand Americans' access to the ballot box and reduce the influence of big money in politics, and for other purposes. I do like the better for democracy parts, but for other purposes, what is that all about? What else did they put in this bill? Well, like I was saying before, studies show that Democrats have a slight edge against Republicans when it comes to high voter turnout elections. But what happens if there is also a third party? Does this headline look familiar? Democrats worry third-party candidate could help Donald Trump win. Like I said, everybody likes winning. So, in the Freedom to Vote Act, there is also a provision that would eliminate public funding for presidential campaigns by terminating the Presidential Election Campaign Fund, a post-Watergate era reform meant to reduce big donor influence in presidential races by providing an alternate public funding source for campaigns. These matching funds have been critical in helping Green Party presidential candidates pay for expensive petition drives to meet onerous state ballot qualification requirements established by Democrats and Republicans, a use affirmed by the Federal Election Commission. In many states, being on the ballot and achieving a certain result for president is even required for minor parties to retain ballot status. Without these funds, the Green Party would disappear in many states. Now, I think this is interesting to point out because Democrats in general act under the assumption that if they can get people out to the polls, they're going to be more likely to vote for them, or more accurately, in my opinion, vote against a Republican. So it would actually be very beneficial, once the voter is actually at the ballot box, to then limit their choices there. Exit polls in 2016 showed that 61% of those voting for Green presidential nominee Jill Stein would have stayed home if she was not on the ballot. So Green Party and other minority party candidates actually bring more people, more voters to the polls. Isn't it kind of wild that a party that talks consistently about fighting to preserve voting rights is actually subtly sneaking in a provision that would do the exact opposite? Or more specifically, it would suppress the vote in their favor by making it harder for third parties to get on the ballot. Maybe it's not that wild. Maybe it's just par for the course. I'm going to be 100% honest here. Yes, this bill is technically an improvement on our democracy by making it easier for more people to vote. But it's definitely crafted in a way that would help one party over all the others. So no surprise that a filibuster from the Republicans is looming. And to me, this isn't like a case of, this bill is as good as we can get for now. Let's, for the sake of democracy, let's take this win if we can get it. No, to me, this is a bill that is deliberately designed to improve voting rights in a way that only benefits the particular party that has introduced the bill. I guess the point I want to make is that, like I was saying, yes, this bill would definitely make it easier for more people to come out and vote. But it will also artificially increase the barrier to entry of new ideas into the political landscape. And in my opinion, that is not democracy. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. It's things like this that inspired me to launch this channel. Because, yes, voting rights is very important. But is anybody actually going to go about it in the right way, or just in a way that, benefits the side that you might be on? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this video, please help me grow by clicking on that like button, sharing this video, subscribing, and if you can bear it, turn on that notification bell. That would be amazing. And as always, thank you so much for your time, and I will see you next week.